There is a recurring conversation around what is becoming a common business challenge for our clients. What is going on with the economy and how do they plan and strategize when surrounded by so much uncertainty in the market? We're all aware that the economic situation at the global, national, and regional level is shifting rapidly. What worked today in business is beginning to see some challenges, with future forecasting becoming almost impossible to predict given the turmoil. What we can forecast is that things are different, and as such, what you did yesterday may not work tomorrow without adaptations. The challenge is prevalent in new or high-tech businesses that have seen growth with little constraint. Over the past few years, we have been lucky. The economy has been favorable, money cheap, and the cost of living relative to income has left most of society with an excess of funds to spend with some comfort. But global inflation driven by the aftermath of COVID and the conflict in Ukraine is now being felt. One of the visible impacts is that disposable income is being squeezed in a way that we've not seen since the early 1980s. It's becoming evident from client feedback that businesses are now seeing the impact of this change. Some are adapting well and simply require a little guidance on what to adjust and where, whilst others are finding it very difficult. Luckily, we've started to notice differentiators in those that need more help, as they have distinct similarities. The first type of business that's seeking support are those that established their business based upon a personal passion. It's everyone's dream. Take what you love, what you have a passion for, and turn it into a job. It's easy to see why we wish to monetize our passion and make it our full-time activity and source of income. If we love something, then others will. Or will they? Unfortunately, this isn't in itself a sustainable strategy. A great idea, a novel product, a solid, niche product is easy to launch when conditions are favorable. Discretionary spending is less questioning than allocating a troubled coin. In a downturn, the niceties become could-haves, rather than must-haves. Typically, this type of business is started with feedback from friends and family as the primary market research, and they show as the early customers of the business. Family and friend feedback is good. It adds value, but it should never be the total of the market research, nor should it set any strategic planning activities. The product or service was core to the idea and underlined the business processes and structure. Even marketing was seen to take a secondary role as business was easy to obtain. Unfortunately, there is now some surprise that a different strategy is needed. We've seen that there was never an alternative approach in hand or in the pipeline. And within lies the challenge for many businesses. The second type of business observed to be struggling to adapt, which often has some similarities to the first, are those with limited business or management experience. Designing and selling a product or service in a high-demand market is hard, but a lot could be achieved through effort, passion, and belief. In an environment where people are open to new ideas, business growth can be achieved with limited need for strategic planning or contingencies. This wasn't an issue when there was a good flow of income through sales. Businesses have been through an extended period of low inflation, limited competition, and the support offered by a reasonably consistent price of dependent resources, goods, and services. But times have changed, and the world is a much more uncertain proposition now. Inflation has increased by around 10%, supply chain issues have resulted in limited supplies, shipping costs are driving up wholesale prices, and it's very difficult to know just how far the shifting market will go. Knowing how to deal with change, uncertainty, and tangible experience of dealing with problems is an essential part of running any operation. However, the prevailing decade has meant that opportunities to learn or develop such skills have been limited. Exposure has understandably been tilted toward an ever-growing and expanding business model where maintaining and managing growth has been the primary leadership focus. What we are seeing now is a fresh business challenge brought about by a lack of skills, not through missing ability, but as a result of a lack of need and exposure to highly variable business trading situations. It's completely understandable. But it still leaves a dilemma. How should a business react to shifting markets, and how can one forecast when things are moving so fast and the endpoint is unclear? So, what should the next step be? How do you plan your way around such a dilemma? The first step is surprisingly simple. It's about accepting that things have changed and that what you've been doing is no longer the right approach. It's about recognizing that change is needed and that you either don't have the right strategies in place, or that you need new strategies and some help to define them. It's important for business owners to separate the personal attachment to the business, its products and services from the operational needs. Decisions need to be made based upon financial, process, design, or marketing constraints with containment of the existing income to cost margins at the core. Understanding objectively what something costs from inception through to customer delivery and client servicing is critical. It's imperative that the costs remain at least neutral, ideally with a residual margin to allow for further market changes. Revenue is important, but without a true profit margin, after the cost to serve has been considered, financial viability is going to be lost and the business may ultimately struggle. In a strong, favorable market, a longer-term perspective is typical and can be helpful. But, in a constricting market, taking a shorter-term view, 6 to 12 months, is not unreasonable. Your supply chain, sales lead times, and financial reserves will help to dictate what makes sense. Market trends also play a part in planning ahead. If you're a business that operates on annual contracts with interim price rises being difficult, you need to factor this into your thinking. Look at your own cost base. Does it align with those of your client contracts, and what possibilities do you have to optimize in the interim? These factors help define how you need to view your short-term strategy. Revisit your marketing assumptions and how you defined your customer demographics. Were they based upon feedback from friends, family, or somewhat biased contacts? If so, it's time to step back and be a little more objective. It's time that you heard the challenges, the negatives as well as the positives. A more rounded picture will help you to understand both how to maintain your current customer base and ideally, grow. Remember that customer loyalty is somewhat fluid and you will lose a few along the way. You'll need to either be able to carry the loss or, better still, maintain a pipeline where one out is met with one in, allowing you to at least stand still. Most businesses fortunately have options as to how they might address their business strategy in such a rapidly shifting and uncertain market. We can look at planning for the future as having 5 key steps. Of course, there are many more, but these 5 will get you started in the right direction. Step 1 is accepting that things have changed, a different approach and strategy is needed. That it's time that your business shifted its operating model. Step 2 is being aware that personal detachment from the product, services, and the business as a whole is needed. An objective view is critical. Now is not the time to be defensive or overly protective. Step 3 is objectively deciding if you need some external help because the experience is not there. Remember, this isn't a weakness, just a different skill set. Step 4 is remaining positive and believing in the business. What is happening isn't personal. Pretty much all businesses are experiencing higher levels of change and uncertainty along with shifting constraints. And finally, step 5 is about realizing that this is no longer a sprint, it's a marathon. You will need different strategies at different times. Change has happened, will continue to happen, and may take place over an extended period of time. If you are unsure or feel that you need some help, why not reach out to New Edge or a similar organization and ask us for help? We're here to get you through this, and we have the experience and results that make the difference. Whatever you decide to do, good luck and thank you for watching.